It's 1:32. The July 18th, 2011 meeting of the Traffic and Transportation Commission is called to order. Jim Witcher.
Present.
Dan Martin. Present. Walter Kula.
Here, sir.
Ward 5 is vacant. James Schuline.
Here.
Mon Jenkins.
Here.
John May.
Here.
Milford J. Clayton. Thank you. Mr. Clayton, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Let us bow our heads in the attitude of prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We come this afternoon in thanksgiving. We thank you for the blessings you have bestowed upon us, and let us ever be mindful that you are the source of our needs. As we go about the people business, we pray that the things that we do will benefit your people. We ask that everything this afternoon that goes here and beyond here will be in your name. This we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Item number 2 is approval of the minutes of the June 20th meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Witcher, seconded by Commissioner Clayton, to approve the minutes of the June 20th meeting. Any discussion?
Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to note, or have noted, that on item 5F, that where it says moved by May to approve item 5F, that was moved for discussion only. At the time that I made that motion, I said for discussion only, I moved to, and so that should be a part of that
We'll note that.
change. And I've already talked to,
Thank you.
come on, no, I've already,
Further comments or discussions
thank you.
on the minutes? Could I have your votes, please? Approved with comments. Thank you. Item number 3 is the report on licensed taxi and wrecker services. We'll move that to the end of the meeting. Item number 4 is the consent docket. Is there anyone here to speak against an item on the consent docket? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Martin, to approve the consent docket. Further discussion? Could I have your votes, please? The consent docket is approved unanimously. Thank you. Item 5A, the applicant is Larry Andrews, 1905 Breakers West Boulevard, Oklahoma City, 73122. The request is to consider lowering the speed limit on South Morgan Road from 45 to 40 miles per hour from Southwest 15th Street to Southwest 29th Street. Is Mr. Andrews present? Could I have staff summary, please?
Okay, you've got our full report before you. All intersections within the mile of South Morgan Road between 15th and 29th Street, the intersections meet or exceed the city's decision sight distance criteria based on the currently posted speed limit of 45. In the absence of any records indicating the presence of any particular safety hazards, staff doesn't have cause to support the requested speed limit change. The currently posted 45-mile-an-hour speed limit is generally consistent with others in the area and is a reasonable speed for transitioning drivers from higher speeds to the south, where the density is less, to the urban areas to the north, where density increases. So in this particular case, it's this 45 is an appropriate speed to go from the 50, which is typically on the miles to the south, to 40, which is on the mile north of 15th Street.
Thank you. Do I have a motion on item 5A?
I'll move to not approve.
I have a motion from Commissioner Witcher to deny 5A. Do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Jenkins. Further discussion? Could I have your votes, please? Item 5A is, Commissioner Clayton, could I have your vote again, please? Item 5 is denied. Thank you. I'm sorry, item 5A is denied. 5B, the applicant is Stephanie Shockey New, 421 East Brownie, Rose Hill, Kansas. The request is to consider the installation of a flashing warning signal at the intersection of North Bryant Avenue and Northeast 4th Street. Is Ms. Newth present? Could I have staff summary, please?
Okay, before you, I distributed a letter that was sent in by the family regarding this particular intersection. They're unable to attend the meeting, so they wanted you to have their family's comments, so I've distributed all of those. In the absence of any unusual terrain features or other conditions that would necessitate safety mitigation efforts, the addition of a flashing warning signal at North Bryant Avenue and Northeast 4th Street is going to be a discretionary traffic safety improvement. In this particular case, staff did research the Federal Highway Administration's intersection safety website, and the FHWA does provide some guidance for communities that are looking at making safety improvements at intersections such as this. And in this particular case, they noted that a warning flasher is one of those safety improvements that could be considered if the collision history over a 5-year period indicated that there were like 5 to 15 collisions. In this particular case, at this intersection over the past 5 years, there have been a total of 3. So in this case, staff does not have cause to recommend the installation of the requested warning signals at this all-way stop-controlled intersection.
Do I have a motion on 5B?
Recommend we decline.
I'll second.
I have a motion to deny by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Witcher. Further discussion?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to make sure that we've gone out there and looked at the yellow arrow signs to make sure that they are the right height. And also, it talks about in here that the stop sign is old. Maybe we could put a new stop sign up there, too.
Right, and those are items that we're already handling administratively. Because both of those signs have been graffitied. They've got some signs of spray paint on them, so we're going to go ahead and have those replaced.
Okay, so we're going to fix the stop signs and fix the yellow arrow signs and make sure they're the right height, make sure all that's correct.
Yeah, and when we did go out there, we were looking at the ages of the signs that were there, because typically the Federal Highway Administration requires, there's now gotten to the point where if you've got regulatory traffic control devices, they can't be any more than 7 years old. So we're switching over to a program where we're going to be replacing them. But the oldest sign that was out there was, I think, about 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old. Yeah, so all of them, all the signs that are out there are well within their age with respect to maintaining their minimum levels of retroreflectivity.
Okay. What about the height concern that she has? Did we make sure they were the proper height or whatever?
Well, any signs that go back up are going to maintain the appropriate ground clearance. I mean, 7 feet is required.
Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you.
So we could, I drove out there, and if it occurred at night, it is dark. Obviously, there's a park to the west. We could put maybe stop sign, approaching sign, or a T sign, or some kind of signage that would let someone know that there's either stop sign approaching or that there are road T's. So is that possible?
Well, Commissioner Kuhl was talking about the warning. One of the warning signs we've got at the intersection, which is basically a large yellow sign with a black arrow on it, with arrows pointing in both directions, which is an indicator to drivers approaching that their options are to turn right or to turn to the left. We could look at it for an advanced stop sign.
get to the intersection, but I mean, if you, the intersection is, sight line is above the approaching road, so I mean, if you, I mean, it could be, unless your high beams on or something, you might not, it might take longer to see the arrows going that way. But if you saw something on the right shoulder that said, okay, you're coming up, stop sign ahead, or, a T sign, then you would know that would be that would give you advance warning. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it wouldn't be just a sign. I mean, it's not like you're, it would be a lot less costly, a lot less expensive than flashing lights.
Right, and we can add some, we can go out there and take another closer look at it and add some more warning signs on the approaches. That would be just fine.
Further comments or discussion? I have a motion to deny 5B with the recommendation that staff reviews the signage at this intersection. That the motion was made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Witcher. There's no further discussion. Could I have your vote, please, to deny? Approved unanimously. Thank you. Or denied unanimously. 5C, Dale Covington, 2108 Northwest 155th Street, Edmond, Oklahoma, 73103. The request is to consider a request to establish a no parking anytime restriction on the north side of Northwest 155th Street between North Pennsylvania Avenue and the northern driveway of the Legends at Jefferson's Garden Facility, 15401 North Pennsylvania Avenue. Charles Skipper, if you'd step to the podium and give us your name and address for the record,
Charles
please.
Skipper, 2126 Northwest 155th Street. Good afternoon. I think we're sort of unique in what we're asking here. Our street is about 3 blocks long. It starts at Pennsylvania Avenue and ends at the assisted living. We have 56 units in there, and all of them are with people 75 or older. Most of them are older than 80. We get a lot of ambulances through there. We get the fire department's rescue vehicle, which is a real large vehicle. And if we have cars parked on both sides of the street, it blocks it. They have had problems from time to time. Also, all of our mailboxes are on the north side of the street, and it would be much better if we could clear those mailboxes for the post lady or postman that delivers our mail. We're a little slow getting across those streets, so we're very careful there. And we would ask that you put up the signs on the north side. It would make a lot of difference. We have a great many ambulances through there picking our people up and down at the assisted living.
Thank you, Mr. Skipper.
Thank you very much.
Could we have staff summary, please?
Okay, well, you've got all our comments before you. In recognition of support from area residents, staff is recommending approval of the request as submitted.
Do I have a motion on...
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Clayton. Is there any further discussion? With that, I'd ask for your votes, please. The item is approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Skipper.
Thank you all very much. It'll make a lot of difference.
Item 5D, the applicant is Randall Ince from the Planning Department. This is in reference to Municipal Code 32-1 and 32-479.
Okay, the Planning Department Director, Russell Klaus, has requested that this item be continued to the Commission's next meeting.
At the request of the Planning Department, do I have a motion?
Sir, I'd like to make a motion to remove this item and place it on next month.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kula to defer this item for 30 days, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. Further discussion? Do I have your votes,
Well,
please?
sir, yeah, if I could, I just want to make sure, because we talked about it 2 meetings ago, about possibly creating a Traffic Commission subcommittee to review all these recommendations that affects all the wards, and then when it does come on, we get their input from the subcommittee. Do we want to go that way, or are we going to look at it all in one package when it does come?
I'll leave that to the discretion of the members. Would you be willing to chair that subcommittee, Commissioner Kula?
Wow. I don't know if we want to have one, first of all. That would be my first.
So if we have a leader, then we can have some followers,
But if we have a place to go, then that's a problem. So if we determine that we should have one, then yes, we need to look at who would be on it and all that kind of thing. I'm just throwing it out there is there so much information here that it's too much for all 9 of us to look at this meeting, to look at what's good for the different roads, what's good for the different areas, or do we want to just let the staff do that legwork for us and then come with a recommendation?
comments from other commissioners?
What is the staff opinion?
Well, in this particular case, it would probably be beneficial if the commission were to form a subcommittee to look at it, because right now the recommendations that we provided to you are based on our engineering judgment, and in reviewing all the particular routes, if the commission were to develop like a broad-based set of guidelines that we as staff could follow and then prepare recommendations for you, that would be useful from our perspective. So it may be well worth it if the commission would consider forming a subcommittee just to look at what should be suitable criteria for use in examining a road, see whether it's a good candidate for a bicycle route.
And that wasn't done when we made our recommendation to the city council on what it should occur for the bike routes? That was a while back that we talked about it, and we made our recommendation that, yeah, we do want to have bike routes, and we do want to have the shared roads and the move over road stuff. Was that pretty clear in that information, what it should look like, or does that need further clarification?
That's one of those things that probably needs further clarification.
It does. So that wasn't in that product,
No.
what you're saying?
No.
Of what kind of road is one that you waive the right-of-way, what's one that's shared, that kind of thing, that's not in that guidance?
That's correct.
Okay.
Because the bicycle transportation plan is something that's it's changed over time. It came to the commission in 2008, and it was a master plan for bicycle transportation. But at that point in time, there were the ability for cyclists to use a full lane, which is kind of what this particular item addresses, wasn't part of that plan because it just wasn't in existence then. And so consequently, that change has come subsequent to the commission hearing the original plan. So I think at this point in time, it would be appropriate for the commission to look at developing a set of criteria, if it wants to develop any criteria for us as staff to look at when reviewing these applications. Because, this is just the first grouping of roads to be considered. The bicycle transportation plan's got literally hundreds of miles of roads in it.
Yeah, we were talking like maybe, 4 or 5 groups of data coming here of recommendations as they go through.
Yeah, because I think the item that you've got now is in the neighborhood of about 60 miles worth of roads.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like the opportunity to give neighborhood leaders some input, or at least some being part of the dialogue on these. I think that most of them would be very supportive. I look at the neighborhoods in Ward 6. I think that ought to be very supportive, but it just seems like if there's an opportunity there, I'd really like to do that. And I know there's not time maybe before this next meeting, but in the future, if there's a way to do that, I think it'd be a good thing. Maybe through Neighborhood Alliance or someone.
Well, in looking at the list, it's hard to tell because some of these are they're identified by ward, but they're maybe only a few blocks long, whereas the one in my ward, for example, is several miles, but yet it's a boulevard, and it came with a very high recommendation. So I'm wondering if, well, I think it's a good idea as well for us to have a subcommittee and get some input from the neighborhood organizations in which these will pass through. And this will probably change as bike riding becomes more popular because of this as well. So I think it's a good idea that we have a subcommittee, and I would like to see those who have a great deal of roads passing through their ward be a part of that.
See, that's where back to your asking me if I wanted to chair it, Ward 4 is very rural out there, which we don't even have one on this thing here. And when you look at the tie-ins, all of the tie-ins from these kind of routes go to bike routes around Stanley Draper and that kind of stuff. Tinker and all that stuff have bike routes, trails would be the right word. I'd be happy to be on it, but I mean, I don't think Ward 4 has a big dog in the fight for the bike route thing, where more of the urban wards may have a bigger.
But you'd be a great chair for that.
Because I don't have
because you don't have a dog in the fight.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's a good point. There's not a whole lot of bicycle paths in Ward 4, so it'd probably be more independent and less protective than others. The other thing is that it doesn't matter to me which way you go as far as having a subcommittee or not. I think the important thing is that whatever medium you use for this review is that you allow it to be open to all of us, because if we've got concerns, we should be able to address those concerns before it gets to this horseshoe. And if the committee's going to meet or whatever, they should let the rest of us know when that's going to happen. And if we've got concerns, we can either show up or we can at least let committee members know what our concerns are.
We just have to make sure of the number thing. You can't have more than 5 in a room, right? Yeah, you just have to make sure not too many people show up.
Or if a quorum wanted to attend, then we could post it as a special meeting.
Right.
Could we do that in executive session, or is that too long to, would it take too long to review that in executive session?
Well, there are only certain circumstances under which you can have an executive session.
Okay. So that's not appropriate. The subcommittee's the better way to
Subcommittee
go.
would be the best option.
Okay.
If you don't mind having a meeting at 2 in the morning, then you can put me as chairman.
We have a volunteer for a chairperson. Okay. Any further discussion? The comments have been very helpful, I think.
Do we have a motion now to put this off for 30 days?
Yes, we do. I have you as the making the motion, but I didn't write down the second.
Actually,
I'm sorry, Commissioner Kula made the motion. Jenkins, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. We can go ahead and follow up on the motion, and then we'll talk about the subcommittee after that. Okay, I have a motion to extend this to the August meeting, or for 30 days, made by Commissioner Kula, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. For any further discussion? If not, I'd ask for your votes, please. The motion the item has been moved to the August meeting. With that, do we want to wait until we get the recommendation from the planning department to put the subcommittee together, or do we want to go ahead and do that now?
But I think the issue that Mr. Chai is looking for council from a subcommittee is more in the guidance realm of this road would be this kind of thing, and this road would be this kind of thing, and then it'd be up to the staff to do the research and then plug the roads into our guidance. Is that what you're looking for? So more than us to look at a thing and go in, out, you want to do the in or out thing.
Right, well, it would give us a consistent means of ranking.
Okay.
As far as how we present recommendations to the commission goes, if the commission were to develop a general policy for us to find. I'm sure that every policy is going to have, there'll be exceptions to every rule, but as far as general guidelines go, I think it would be useful because it'd be good information to share with the planning department as well, because they'll be the ones that'll be preparing the applications to come before you, so if they had some guidance from the commission, it might be beneficial for them.
So we would meet with the staff, and we would create this little product that you're talking about of council. We would come back and report it here, and everybody approve it, or just the subcommittee can make the approval? Council, you guys figure it. Would that be, yeah, what I was saying is, so if we meet and we take the basic guidance that's already out there and throw in a little bit of different things, would that be sufficient for the subcommittee to provide that counsel, and then off they go, or does it need to come back here and get approved?
According to ordinance, it has to be approved by traffic commission. So the subcommittee could make a recommendation to the full commission, and then the full commission could approve it, and then it would go to city council.
Oh, then the city council, even for just council, or even for just guidance?
Actually, I'm not, I take that back. It may not have to go to city council. I'll have to check on that, but I know that traffic commission has to approve it first, the full commission. In other words, it wouldn't be sufficient just for a subcommittee to approve it.
Okay, so the subcommittee would do the work, figure out some words, figure out the council. It would be a actual item here, we talk about it, and we vote and say, yes, that's the council to the staff. And then the staff would work with the planning commission, and then they provide a product to us.
Yeah, I would say so, because
Okay.
you've got a standard operating policy and procedure in place that was prepared at the staff level and presented at the commission, and it was discussed, and it's actually been amended a few times over the course. That's the process that we use to establish like petitioning requirements and everything else that goes into a lot of the cases that you hear.
Okay.
So, yeah, it would be perfectly appropriate to be able to develop something at a subcommittee level and present it at the full commission level for adoption as far as how the commission seeks to act on requests for bicycle routes.
Okay, then that's my motion, what he just said.
Okay, well, we're past, this is just open discussion for the commissioners. Commissioner Kula, would you be willing to chair that subcommittee?
Unless somebody else would like to step up, I'll do it.
Thank you. Any other volunteers to participate in the subcommittee? Commissioner Schuline? Yes.
Would the subcommittee be presenting before the August commission meeting?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to the committee themselves. Commissioner Schuline asked for input from maybe neighborhood associations that will have this. I don't know how much time you guys would need to do that. How quickly we can turn this around. I assume the planning department would like for us to move on it as quickly as possible, but at the same time, I think we want to get it right from our perspective. So I'll leave that at your discretion. Ms. Jenkins, would you like to be on the subcommittee?
I would like to be on the subcommittee, but the time frame is very essential for me.
Okay.
Because for the next 3 weeks, I will not be there.
Okay. As the tentative chair, what type of time frame are you looking at? Or,
Well, we need to give the staff time to make a recommendation and come to the meeting with some basic thoughts of what they're looking for some help. And then, we could probably meet the week before this meeting, which would be in just after the 3 weeks, whenever you are available. And that would give the staff enough time, and they can send out emails to us. If you have email, you might be able to read it or something. And then we meet, get their recommendation, make any modifications, and then we're ready to go by this meeting.
is that
That'd
agreeable?
be all right. That'd give everybody enough time to review all the stuff, and he can throw some drafts out to us over email. We don't have to be present as a group to read stuff. That would work. Be okay with you?
Okay.
How many people would you,
It's just three.
just 3?
Just three, right?
There's 3 right now.
Yeah, that's all.
And a
That's all
4th
we need.
would be fine if you'd like to participate.
I would like to
Okay.
participate.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of the time constraint, let me be the fourth person, so that it wouldn't hinder the process.
We'll talk with staff right after this meeting and set up a time. Okay, very good.
Very good. Thank you. Moving on to item 5E, the applicant is Premier Executive International Transportation, LLC, 10429 Futurity Drive, Midwest City. The request is to consider an application from Premier Executive International Transportation, LLC, for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate 10 vehicles in limousine service. Jeff Latimer? Sorry. Latham.
Yes, sir.
Did you have any comments to make?
No, sir. Not unless there are any questions.
Okay, thank you. Could I have staff summary, please?
Okay, you've got all our comments before you. They've met all the application requirements. So staff is recommending approval of the application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity as presented in this item.
Do I have a motion to approve item 5E?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Clayton, seconded by Commissioner Martin, to approve item 5E. Is there further discussion?
I have a question of the applicant. In fact, a couple of questions.
Mr. Latham, if you... Lathan, I believe it is. Lathan with an N. If you'd state your name and address, please.
Jeff Lathan, 10429 Futurity Drive, Midwest City, Oklahoma.
Commissioner May.
Good. Hi, good to see you here. And
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon.
first question I have is, are there any other either taxi, shuttles, or limousine services affiliated with your company?
No, sir.
Are you affiliated with any other taxi, shuttle, or limousine services
No, sir.
currently?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. What this is, I'm sorry if I may.
No, by all means.
This is the intent behind this is a black car service on a concierge level, which is not currently in Oklahoma City. We have Paris Limo, we have VIP Limo, we have several that are doing limos. There are no limos involved. This is strictly black car, sedan, and SUV for catering the upper end, CEOs, Devon, Chesapeake, Thunder, things of that nature, and your upper end. So that's why it's small and specialized.
Well, good, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen, ladies.
I have a motion to approve item 5E by Commissioner Clayton, seconded by Commissioner Martin, I believe. Is that right? Yes. If there's no further discussion, I'd ask for your votes, please. Item 5E is approved unanimously. Thank you. We will come back to item 3 at this time, which is the report on licensed taxi and wrecker services.
Good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Bear. For the quarterly report during the months of April, May, and June, we had 55 new driver permits on taxis and vans. We renewed 70 driver permits on taxis and vans. We did 19 transfers, taxis and vans, 22 duplicates. Inspections, we did 322 with 17 failures. Limousine inspections, we did 14. Complaints investigated on taxis and vans, we did 10. We conducted 6 enforcement actions on them. Field inspections were a total of 396, and we issued 8 citations. On limousines and carriages, we issued 17 new driver permits and renewed 25 driver permits on limousines and carriages. We did 7 transfers, driver transfers, 0 duplicates. We did 35 inspections, worked 3 complaints, and issued 1 citation on a carriage driver. At this time, we're done with the taxi and van inspections unless they just come in wanting extra other than the roundup, and we're still conducting limousine and carriage inspections.
Thank you, Sergeant Barrett.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Out of curiosity, what was the citation on the carriage? Do you have that information available?
I believe it was where a carriage driver rear-ended another carriage driver down in Bricktown.
Any other questions of Sergeant Barrett? Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
sir. Thank you.
Our next report will be in 3 months. That takes us to item 6, comments from citizens. Is there anyone wishing? If you'd step forward and state your name and address, and you've already got the blue form, so if you'd hand that to Jerry when you're done.
Hi, Tawana Valencia, A1 Taxi, 3511 Charleston Road, Norman, Oklahoma. Just have a quick comment. As most of you probably know, I was a big supporter of bringing in more taxi cab companies into Oklahoma City. Feel they were greatly needed. I do have a concern, though, and it's one that I voiced in the task force as well as Yellow Cab, and that is in allowing people to come in with absolutely no prior knowledge of running a company in any way, shape, or form, not just a taxi company, but any company. And I see that this is happening. They're dispatching out of their homes. And I do have a concern there. I maintain a 24-hour-a-day manned dispatch. I feel like they should have to do the same thing. And I feel like the people that we are letting in, they need to have some kind of business experience. I have studied the application process from Kansas City, Dallas, New York, LA, Colorado, and every one of them has to have prior experience in running a company. I feel like you have to have that. You're having drivers, 5 drivers, getting together, pulling their car together and calling themselves a taxi company and dispatching out of their home. I don't believe that this should be allowed, and that's just my comment for today. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valencia. Yes, if you'd step to the podium, please.
I was here on another item tonight. On 4B.
Oh, on 4B,
Yes, sir.
did you wish to speak against that?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I got here after it was.
Oh, okay, we approved the consent. Please step up to the podium.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
There was one correction from...
If you'd state your name and address for the record.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. Yes, my name's Jenny Vesper. I'm the principal at Pierce Elementary. Do you want that address or my home address?
No, your home address, please.
I'm sorry, 7605 Rumsey Road, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73132 is my home address. And just one correction, I was noticing where it's changing, that the afternoon hours say 3 to 3:30. I believe currently it's 2:30 to 3:30, and I would ask that we keep that the same. That gives us a little bit of time before school is out for parents to be driving in one direction.
Can we make that amendment to the...
Well, the signs that are out there are posted 3 to 3:30.
Okay, could I ask that they be marked 2:30 to 3:30 then? We dismiss at 3 o'clock, and parents typically are there about 15 minutes early, and that way they're not going the incorrect way.
I think we might want to make that another agenda item for next month to change that or modify.
If we can, okay, or reopen it. maybe it's a typo in here, and it needs to be changed to 2:30. I think it's probably a typo that it says 3 p.m.
I believe it's always, I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to. Just as soon as I say it, it'll be wrong.
Okay.
Well, I would say, since her petition just states that she was seeking to expand the morning hours, and not seeking to change the afternoon hours, that would have to be a separate agenda item.
Bring it back to the next hearing.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Vesper, what we'll do is we will bring back a separate item at the next meeting to amend the hours, to move it from instead of from 3 to 3:30, from 2:30 to 3:30.
Okay, and they'll
If that's
change
the correct
the
time.
morning time as it stands.
The morning time can be taken care of now, and I mean, we're
Okay,
just going
great.
to do that.
That'll be super to have it start before school starts, to get everybody on the same page early. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you.
Any other comments from citizens? If not, we'll move to item 7, which are reports and other items from traffic commissioners. Any committee reports? If not, Commissioner Witcher.
I have nothing to report this month.
Commissioner Martin?
No report.
Commissioner Kula?
No, sir, thank you.
Commissioner Schuline?
Nothing, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Jenkins?
No.
Commissioner May?
One comment, and that is that I'm concerned about Ward 5th Ward being vacant. We're looking at bicycle paths throughout the city, and that's a large ward, a lot of bicycle paths there. There's no input. And so we need to take a look at who we can inspire to make an appointment so that they can be represented at this board, at this body. Thank you.
We'll bring that to the attention of the councilman for Ward 5. Ask that staff.
So I think it'd be nice for us as a group to say to the Ward 5 councilman, it's time to get somebody in here.
Noted. Okay. Commissioner Clayton? Okay. I've got one comment, and I'd like to, let me back up. I'm not sure how many of you, I think most of you were here when we were responsible for approving flashing signs and so forth. And through a lot of hard work, we got out of the sign business. And I'm wondering if, I'd like to have your thoughts on what can be done from the licensing part of the taxi division, of the licensing of taxis, to expedite that and move that through a little more expeditiously for us. Any thoughts? Well, we got out of the sign business. If this is truly a licensing issue for taxi cabs, I'm wondering why the Traffic Commission needs to approve those. Am I off base, or I'd like to have your thoughts on that. Where I'm coming from is we are liaisons for all of the constituents in our various wards, and I don't know that they're being served by us spending an inordinate amount of time on the licensing of the taxi cabs. We have rules and things that should be followed, and I think maybe the licensing can be done. I don't know that we need to be involved in that, I guess is where I'm going.
So what you're saying is somebody wants to make a new company, that they should just be able to go through the process, city, make sure everything's all correct, and then they get issued their appropriate license to operate. Doesn't have to come to us to say, yeah, it's okay. That's
what
the
I'm...
one, is that the extent of what you're thinking?
That's what I'm
or
thinking.
Even in the operation of the taxis?
No, I think we can still hear the report from the Oklahoma City Police Department on...
Once it's up and
on
running.
what takes place.
And also if there's problems.
If there's a
whatever.
problem, because we interface with the public on that. But as far as the licensing of a company, I don't know that we need to be in that business.
Except for probably that city council has deferred it to us, so therefore, can we then defer to a lower level?
This is open for discussion. I'd like to have your thoughts on it.
I would assume that we're chartered by the city council to do that function for them.
Well, and we were given the task of approving flashing signs once upon a time as well, and we got out of the sign business.
And if you could refresh my memory, how do we get out of that one?
There were statutes put in place to regulate flashing signs.
Which there are statutes on how to become a cab company.
On the size, the time of day,
Right.
the intensity. I don't...
So it's the same thing now. We have statutes that are really well written now for taxi companies.
I hope we do.
We worked hard enough on it.
I'm making notes of Ms. Valencia's comments about, business experience. Are we here? I don't think we should be stifling someone who is taking upon themselves free enterprise. So I don't know that, we want to get involved in business experience. But other things like 24-hour dispatch, if that is a pertinent part of the process, then it needs to be noted as well.
So what you're saying is, why should all this process be done, come to us, and then we just say, oh, everything's there, all 5 things are there?
We don't have any reason to staff recommends it. Right. Staff recommends it, and just like the signs, if we might be opposed to the signs, but we had no grounds to deny them.
And what we still have the ability, if a sign is brought to us by a citizen or someone else as a safety concern, then we have the ability to address that. We're not out of the sign business. We're just not approving all of the signs that are put out there because they have been scrutinized. They have met the requirements that the statutes make. And I think that's kind of where we're at with the taxi business. If they meet all of the requirements, who are we to say, other than just putting a rubber stamp on it, do we need to do that? If they have met all of the requirements, is that good enough? Just something to think about. And, we can...
Well, based off of that thought, maybe during the next month here, council could review the rules and see if it's mandated that it says we will do this, or if it's just it occurs, and
I think
maybe you could just look and see if it really is required. And if it is, then it is.
I think that would be a good start, maybe a recommendation from council and from staff about what involvement is required or needed by the commission in the approval of licensing of taxis.
And if it is required, what it would take if we as a group recommended to whoever forced us to do it, to say, do you really want us to do it, or how about if we do it this way?
I guess I'm thinking that the public is better served if we're out there scrutinizing stop signs and the things that they want and need, and that's just my thoughts on it. But if I would ask for council and staff to give us some guidelines for moving that forward, something we can consider. Jill, do you have any comments? Stuart?
I have nothing further for this meeting.
Captain? Yes, sir? Okay. I have a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Oh, yes. Oh, before we, I leave that open at the discretion of the commission. We, in years past, we have taken 1 month off. If it's at the discretion of the members. Do we want to meet in August? Or can we get the business done by meeting in September? Is everyone in agreement that we'll just go ahead and have our August and September meetings as usual? Let's do just one meeting at a time. We'll have the August meeting as planned and go from there. Okay. With that, we're adjourned. Thank you.